I'm Yasmina Alksay. I'm 23 years old and I'm the chairman of the Povodom Mosque where we are now.
I'm Mohammed Amin Tuhami. I'm a student and I work with as a social worker and I'm from the organization of AISA, Association Internationale Sofia Laoui. I lived first time in Morocco, from Morocco, and when I was 14, I was coming here to Holland. So I'm now 26 years. We're old.
Well, my name is Leila Çakır. I'm born in the Netherlands with a Turkish background. I'm also a social worker as a profession, but now I'm the chairwoman of a national Muslim women organization called Al Nisa.
I think the Muslim community is tired to always need to defend the Islam and not tired to say to the Dutch people from this is Islam, because now they're really angry to the Muslims who like Mohammed Bey, who killed Teo van Goga, because they said now you went too far, because we don't believe that the Islam say this, and now it's time to say for no, you went too far. We had a lot of Muslims, and not only the educated Muslims, just my father, my mother, so that is the prime generation. He said, no, this is not the Islam. Yes, and we know we didn't agree with what he said.
A lot of Muslim people, young people, they have attention when only when there is something negative on television, or only questions about terrorism, the war, or the position of the women in the community. And that's why Muslims are tired, or like Yasmin said, tired and to defend every time maybe the problems of someone else.
There are some youngsters, they give up for convincing the other one, convincing the Dutch society that they are Dutch citizen, and they will isolate themselves. So it's a risk.
The view is different, because the first generation had the view to give them, the children, a better life, but always in their head to go, when I got old, we're going back. The second generation was like in between, so what I'm going to do, I'm going back, I'm going to stay. But like the children, there's not an issue to say when I'm going back, because I don't have anything to go back.
Most migrants were being asked to come over here because there was a big shortage of labor in the 1970s. And so lots of migrants from Turkey and Morocco were asked to come to the Netherlands to work here. We needed a lot of people to work in industry here. And they did mainly the sort of jobs that Western people didn't want to do, like cleaning up or hard labor in the industry.
Amsterdam's once again tonight the centre of an investigation into the murder of a famous public figure who'd become controversial for his stance on race. The filmmaker Teo van Goga, a distant relative of the famous painter, was cycling near his home in Amsterdam when he was stabbed and shot dead. His most recent film had been about a Muslim woman abused by her husband and raped by her uncle.
The murder on Teo van Gogh was actually a big shock in the Netherlands. Not only due to the murder itself, of course, but also the effect it had on Muslims in the Netherlands. In the weeks and days afterwards, after the murder, there were lots of attacks on Muslim buildings, like for instance an Islamic school was burned down completely. And there were also attacks on mosques and individual Muslims in the Netherlands. In total there were about 150 attacks in a couple of weeks. At first I think there's a big problem at the moment that the policymakers don't do something about racism and discrimination. There's lots of this going on, and there's a complete denial of politicians. There are even politicians in the Netherlands who claim that there is no discrimination and racism in the Netherlands. Then we should be the first country in the world which this takes place. Everywhere there's racism. It's not something that goes away. It's always there. It's everywhere in every country, also in the Netherlands.
We have the character of the Dutch because we're born and raised here. So we have the, if you like or not, because you're. I think it's in between because you have the character of the Dutch people. And when you said to me, actually I feel Dutch, but I'm not allowed to feel Dutch because the Dutch people don't see me like a Dutch person because I have a foreign background, a foreign name. Difficult for the youth now to search the identity, and I think the youth now who's growing up said it's easier to choose the Islamic identity because you said Islam is for everyone. It's easier because you can say I live in Holland, but I have my Islam, and it's going to give me a strength to go further.
And safety, of course. I mean, you have to feel safe to be yourself. And when Yasmina was talking, I was remembering once a debate that I had on television after the murder on Teo van Goga. And there was a discussion going on, and you know, the negative circumstances, etc. And all of a sudden, the journalist asked me, well, if the situation isn't, you know, going better, will you go back? And I was like, what do you mean, go back to where? I mean, I'm a Dutch citizen, so I'm born here and I'm raised here. So what do you mean going back to where? So he realized that it was a very, very strange question to ask me that. So, but that's how even, and he was a Muslim, so even the Muslims, you know, are being trapped in that kind of mentality.
You know, the first generation came to work, the second generation tried to get education and tried to get ahead, and the third generation looks for identity. When you're entering a bus and everybody just, you know how the Dutch system, they have this strippenkaart thing, and they just show it to the bus driver and they just walk through. And when you are picked out every time you enter a bus, because he wants to study your card and see if you have stamped it rightly. When that happens every day, somewhere you are going to think, this country doesn't want me. Actually, they hate me.
I think the first time when the Muslim women in Europe, I think in the years, 30 years ago, the first generation, it was difficult for the women because she didn't know the language of the country. That was, I think, a large problem when the women was not active on the community maybe. But now at this time we can see women like Yasmin, like Leila, who are very active and who are participating because they have education in the Netherlands are one part of this community, and I think I see maybe a big difference between the Muslim women and the Muslim men. Maybe I see a lot of positive things on the women. The women have more discipline in this community. If they have one if they want to do something, they give all the energy to do it. But I think the man can learn something about about her.
As a woman, yeah.
As women.
Finally, a man is admitting it.
So there's a reality. It's kind of
Born to an elite political family in Somalia, she was brought up Muslim, subjected to genital mutilation, and promised in an arranged marriage to a Somali Canadian. On her way, she departed from the script and made a new life in the Netherlands. She learned the language, worked in a factory, a classic immigrant story, until she went into politics and ended up with the right-wing Dutch Liberal Party, which was exploiting a wave of anti-immigrant sentiment at the time. Hirsi Ali became famous and famously hated for her condemnation of Islam. She wrote the short film Submission by Teo van Goga, which featured sexualized images of a Muslim woman with verses of the Quran written on her body, telling a tale of abuse.
I totally agree with Ayan that something has to be done about the position of women in the Islamic community, and I totally disagree with the way she handles it, because it has nothing to do with her subject. It has everything to do with herself. That was completely cheap propaganda. It was like, listen, I have to become famous, and quickly. And somewhere in that switch, some things go wrong.
To be very frank, I always ask those people, is it a genuine concern about the position of Muslim women, or is it an excuse to confirm your own images? That is something that is the question that Muslims has to ask the other, because I don't believe that the West is concerned with the position of Muslim women. Nor is the Dutch government concerned with the position of Muslim women. It wasn't. I do remember the time when I was a young child, and I was refused. I had a school advice was the lowest education that you can imagine in the Netherlands, and I got that advice because I was from my background, because I was a woman. I started a fight to go and be educated, and I was successful, but a lot of other women didn't have that success. So it's very easy now to say the Muslim woman is repressed or subjugated or whatever, but that is also due to their failure to be concerned and to do something about it. To be very frank, I wear the headscarf about 30 years now. I think 30 years. And at this moment, sometimes I forget I have the headscarf and that I have a very different way of showing. And when I go to court, especially not this area, because in this area everybody knows me, but if I go to the court in another place, I'm refused at the door because they don't expect a lawyer being with a headscarf. Everybody have the stereotype of a woman with a headscarf, or she's the cleaner, or she doesn't speak Dutch, and that gives a lot of feed for humor. So I'm very laughing about it, and I'm very teasing them about it. And but on the other hand, it is sad. It is sad because the native Dutch people still think in stereotypes and still are, it is their image about Muslims is very polluted. And it is polluted by the media, by the politicians, by the bad image that we have. And sometimes also by ourselves, of course, because we contribute to that. But not showing the good models.
People who attack Islam, what they know about Islam could be written on the back of a small postcard. And so when they attack Islam, out come all these prejudices against the religion that have been boiling in Europe for about 1,000 years. And this just polarizes the debate. If you don't want women to wear the veil, be quiet about it. If the more you attack, the more people are going to say, don't tell me what to wear. Don't tell me about my religion.
Moet u over? Even overdoen? Ja. Ja, ik pak hem verkeerd op.
I'm Shida, and I'm Moroccan too. I was 2 years old when I came here. I was born in Morocco, and I came here because my father was one of those gastarbeiders, one of those guests. But we stayed here, and I grew up here. So now I'm Dutch, Moroccan, and I'm an actress.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Dat is ook inderdaad het mooiste geschenk wat ze ons hebben geschonken. Tja, ik heb alleen nooit...
I have my beliefs, and I'm very convinced of my beliefs, and I'm very spiritual, and God has a big place in my life. I always say I strive to be a good Muslim, and at the end of the day, it's only God who can judge if I'm a good Muslim or not.
Alleen mijn zoons gingen elkaar. Oké, ik, Abu en Faris. Ik, Abdul al-Mamoun.
I get very upset sometimes when they say, "Oh, but you're different because you know the Dutch language so well, or you do well at school, or you study, or oh you work and you don't wear the hijab, so you're very Dutch."
Assalamu alaikum.
I get it a lot when people meet me and they don't know I'm Moroccan, and then they'll ask, "Oh, where are you from?" or "What are you from originally?" Because we can look at you, you're not very Dutch. I tell them I'm Moroccan. They're very shocked, and I don't understand why they're shocked. Why are you shocked? What kind of image do you have of a Moroccan girl, of a Moroccan boy then? I don't have a bomb in my bag or anything, or
Waarom ben je eigenlijk getrouwd? Pardon? En waarom met een Marokkaan? Waarom zou ik niet met een Marokkaan trouwen?
Actually, we're only trying to communicate Moroccan or not Moroccan. We always have the same feelings. If it's pain, if it's hurt, or it's being in love. Those are the same feelings, but now it's... And actually what you were talking about, like a lot of people are choosing some side of I want to do this, or I want to learn more about my culture, but actually a lot of people are here in Holland, they talk about integratie, like integrate to Holland, but actually they don't really know that a lot of people, about the immigrants who live here, like the Moroccan or Turkish people, it's always from one side, and when they're trying to tell them something about themselves, like the doors get shut down.
Well, one of the main problems, in my opinion, with integration these days is that it is not so much of the integration of Islam into a Christian Western culture, but it's more the problem of integration of Islam into a secular liberal culture. So the clash is not so much between Christianity on one hand or Christian culture on one hand, and then you have Islam on the other hand, but more about secular liberal thinking on the one hand that thinks about in a division between church and state, and on the other hand the influence of, well, the spiritualities of Islam on the other hand that came to the Netherlands. The power of religion, the power of the church declined very much, and we speak about secularization from the 1960s on, and that ran very fast, and the degrees of the influence of the church was very fast. And then Islam came, but that was a different religion. They did not have a pillar in Dutch society, nor in Dutch history. Nevertheless, they became a huge part of Dutch society. Until now there are more than 1 million Muslims in Holland. Well, that's a huge number. And what to do with it from a secular liberal perspective that always believed that religion was backward. So that became part of the problem. And the problem, of course, increased since, well, the 1990s and since 9/11, and then we have the murder of Pim Fortuyn, and then we have the murder of Teo van Gogh. So it became more and more a media topic. And the media, of course, focuses on those issues of religion that they think they are not, and that do not belong to Dutch society.
Wat ik wel wil dat u wilt weten, dat ik uit overtuiging heb gehandeld. En niet omdat ik uw zoon haat, dat ik me beledigd zou voelen. Als Marokkaan. Dat is allemaal niet waar. Ik heb gehandeld uit geloof.
We have to understand that this kind of radicalism is not religious. It may be expressing itself in a religious idiom, but it is political. It springs from the fact that there is an imbalance in too much power invested in one segment of the world.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah. Aladdin. Assalamu alaikum. Was goed? Wie geht es dir? It's my brother Aladdin. It's my mother. Hello. Hello. Hi. Sander.
You know what Sufism is? Sufism is not something else than Islam. Some people think, oh, Sufism is another faith. But Sufism is a way of thinking, in my opinion, way of thinking in your faith. If somebody is radical and he said, in his thoughts, he said, women has to wear a niqab and burqa in Dutch, and we have to beard and we cannot give a hand to a woman. This kind, okay, you said, that's your way of thinking. You're free to do that. My way of thinking is you can give a hand. It's very good to give a hand. It's not obligated for women to wear a burqa. It's not obligated for a person to have a beard. No, but saying no, that is not true, and I have the truth. No.
The problem of the extremism is that people think, I have the truth. If you don't do like me, or if you don't agree with me, so you are on bad. You are bad, or you are not on the truth. So, and I think the solution is that when you can think, I have the truth, but I have only maybe one part of the truth, and the other one I have maybe another part of the truth. So the 100% truth is in we together.
In Europe, people have very strange ideas about A, religion in general, and B, what they call other people's religions. Here in Europe, in Christian Europe, there's been a long tradition of persecution of minorities. the persecution of the Jews in Europe for 1,000 years. Dialogue is a big buzzword at the moment. We're all saying how important dialogue is, and indeed it is very important that we learn to speak to each other. It's also very important that we listen.
It's in the family, alsjeblieft. It's ridiculous that somebody kills another, and no, it's maybe my problem, but if somebody is dead or something, it's always sad, but I don't care if it is famous or important or poor. It's a dead, a kill is a kill, you know. There were last some deaths in Queen's Day festival. There were 9 deaths, and they are still now. They are speaking about the deaths and dates and that. Okay, it's just the same. Every day people are getting killed. So why there's never something about that in TV? No, it needs to be famous. It needs to be like that. No, it's all human. It's all the same. If I say, all Chinese are bad, no problem. Who cares? But if the Prime Minister or somebody who's famous will say that, it is a problem. So you need to take responsibility. And the director, Teo van Goga, it was very easy for him to just show, like, Islam is this, you know? Abusing women, exploding, killing Jews and non-believers. It's very easy. It's also easy for me to show the bad sides of every person, because it's normal. Every person, there is in every person bad behavior and good behavior, and it's our job to make difference between them and choose between them. And just showing bad. Okay, come with some solutions. Okay, we are bad. Okay, give me some solutions to be good. Help me, not just pointing. There's a problem. Okay, show me how to heal them. Show me how to change them.